Well, I was hoping to send you up.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Cool.
And then during the thermark, and the thermark interacts with the metal in such a way that leaves.
And that's how we maintain all the overhead air plumbing and wiring and, you know, the various things that are hung from the ceiling all got linked up with this and so on.
And you can etch glass if you do it right. What you have to do is you have to take a layer of really coarse masking tape, wet the masking tape, put it over your image, and then laser cut it.
Thanks.
Yeah, the bike shop actually didn't get to in this corner yet.
Cool, yeah.
I don't know why it says. Oh, I know why it says balls there. That was a piece of a countertop that was, or a counter that was being torn apart. Yeah, in warmer weather, the bike shop gets a little bit more use. And we're working on a deal right now with a member who's not around much because he's running a bike store now.
Great.
Wants to sponsor us, and you know, we'll figure out the details of that collaboration going forward. But did Bill talk about the podcast trailer and stuff like that?
No, not really. I mean, he just had started to show us the door system, the on-off system, but
the Twitter bot and stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't get it on film or anything. So.
All right. Well, let's start with the podcast trailer first. At the moment, the guy whose project this is out of town for work for weeks and weeks at a time. So he's.
Yeah, so I'm not getting much light in here.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Ta-da! Here we go.
Yeah.
See you, Ted.
So you do podcasts in here?
So yeah, the idea here was to be a quieter, because the main shop's pretty noisy, a quieter place where you can set up and hopefully we'll permanently install, a mixing board, some mics and some benches or whatever, and be able to do, 99% of the time it'll be parked here, but also be able to roll it out to events, go to the Twitter bot, yeah. So this was one of the very first things we did at our old location up in Royal Oak, because we needed a way to tell the public when we were around and when they could come in and hang out.
Yeah.
Because no paid staff, no regular hours, it's difficult. And so a number of other spaces have motion detectors and things like that set a status on IRC or something on the website. And we had some concerns about that. Particularly, we have a number of single female members who might not want to advertise to the world.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here alone. So we made it voluntary. You flip the switch to say that it's open. You flip the switch to say that it's closed. But to make it a little more personal, on a down to up transition, it takes your picture.
Yep.
So the whole system's driven by the network camera out there. Takes your picture, throws it up on TwitPic. And anyone can see, and half the time it's just Steve, looking like that as he flips the switch. But a lot of the time, we'll pose, or if you're bringing something in, hold it up to the camera.
I looked at a couple of them, and people were making different faces.
If you go way back in the history, you'll see people using the box of hats more often.
Okay.
And way back, to 2009, it was really a production. Like, it was very competitive. I have to have a weirder open photo than the last.
Than other people. Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys have just a ton of space here, huh?
Yeah, somewhere around 7,000 square feet. I don't know the exact number, but it's sizable.
And you're popcorn lovers.
And I love that platform, except I bought it and I got it actually for my birthday and it burned out the second time we used it.
We'll fix it.
I'm sending it back to work.
I'm going to cut the light for a second because we've been doing fun things with the bed.
Okay.
Point over there for a second. So the light burned out.
Yeah, I see it's changing some color here.
Yeah, so we fixed that. And if you move in a little closer and look up, see, this is actually Roger's project on a chromo disc, which is this.
I don't know if it's getting it really.
Wow, yeah, that's weird.
So LED. So the refresh is.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the LEDs are actually just strobing and it's picking up the strobe. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's been writing programs for that thing to make interesting color patterns come out of it, so we start playing.
Yeah. Wow, it just goes on.
Yeah, the craft room is. You notice it's getting quieter as the walls get not so concrete.
Yeah.
There's more stuff, and I like the acoustic character up here. I'm one of those people who's bothered by noise. But, yeah, so you might find Ed in here drawing snowflakes on the drafting table. Melissa's been rebinding books, so on and so forth. The sewing machine terrifies me. It's got like a half-horse motor and no speed control. If you want to go less than Mach 1, you feather the clutch.
Most dangerous machine in the shop, then?
Don't know if it's racked up any injuries yet. It's broken a few of its own needles.
So how do you guys handle that? I mean, do you guys have we have liabilities that we signed at the door,
with the waivers.
And then like do members all have to get trained or?
Yeah, basically it's up to the member if they feel they don't really know what they're doing to ask someone who does. On the bigger machines it's more strict. You cannot use this by default until you prove to someone responsible for the machine that you do know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we officially track that on the laser because it's it's one of the machines where it's very easy to destroy the machine if you don't do the startup in the right sequence and so on. Most of the other machines, you're not going to destroy the machine so much as yourself. And people's sense of self-preservation, I think, kicks in.
I've seen enough bandsaw accidents to know that people also, makes this
bandsaw accident. It's like the safest tool in the shop.
Well, maybe I spent too much time in the shop in high school.
I don't know. Oh, well, high schoolers are different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the electronics lab is where I spend most of my time.
Cool. Great, yeah.
Rocco just went organizing crazy on that side, and I've been, back here and over here is kind of the stuff.
Lots of Tupperware containers with lots of labels in this place, huh?
Get a standard size, post like the part number, like the UPC or whatever, and just encourage anyone who wants storage to buy that particular size. It's so nice when they all nest properly.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah. It's funny. You go through various parts of the shop, and back in the metal shop, Nick owns probably half of what's back there, and Steve about a third, and then the rest is miscellaneous. And then you go over towards the vinyl cutter, and like Rocco owns 90% of that. And you come up here, and like this half of the room, I own about 80%. Not most of the instruments. I own the soldering equipment, but the power supply and all that stuff is other people's. But all the parts and most of the tools and stuff like that. A lot of this was bootstrapped when I just basically cleaned out my bedroom and my garage and my workshop and that stuff and started this up. And then people have been adding to it so much. It's a much richer collection than any individual had imagined.
Yeah. And do you have problem with people that retain ownership of items?
No.
So like basically once you bring it in, it's part of the collective and you sort of let go, or?
No, people can take their stuff home at any time. And actually the bottom shelf here just got rearranged as the second oscilloscope went home with somebody who's doing more work at home now. And it's fine. We hey, there's room for another power supply now. It hasn't been an issue.
And people, because how do you choose your members? I mean, it sounds like you're putting a lot of trust in people. Okay.
Our members choose us. Qualifications for membership is you have to be old enough to sign a contract and financially able to pay the dues. And that's really about it. So far, we haven't had a problem.
How much are the dues?
It's either $39 or $89 a month. The primary difference is the $89 members are full members and they get a vote in the affairs of the corporation. The $39 plan was originally intended to have a lower barrier to entry for people who weren't going to, didn't see a big point to the big tools because they were mostly, crafters and coders and people who wouldn't have a need for a giant CNC and, therefore couldn't justify the $89. But we found that people, generally self-select their membership level based on what they can pay. We have crafters and coders who pay the $89 because they can and they think it's awesome and they want to support it. And then we have people who, who use the big tools and do big projects, but simply can't afford the $89 and they pay the $39, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
People step up when they can, and we're in the black, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, was this the end of the official part of the tour? There's anything else to?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
A little bit more on dues I want to mention. Historically, we started up with $100 a month dues, and we had like 12 members. And, you know, that was just barely enough for a little tiny space, actually. I don't think it was. We had to grow from there to afford the utilities on top of rent. And as soon as we lowered that to the $39.89 plan, over the next 3 months, I think membership tripled.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been a longer time span than that, but it was significant. Which is funny because, you know, the people who were the original members thought, well, of course it's $100. Don't you see? It's $100 worth of, you know, worth of stuff, worth of value. And of course, that was a self-selecting group. So
you had to make it more accessible to.
Yeah, and you know, the people we've gained since then have brought, you know, okay, you know, going from 10 or 20 some members to 60, 70 plus, of course, is going to bring you a lot more, you know, people with different skills and different stories.
Yeah.
But I think also, you know, making it so you don't have to have a nice job to afford this every month has also opened it to even more, you know, interesting people with different skills. And that's been great. I would say the one bit of color that you're missing from the picture, I haven't taken the tour so far, is the silks hanging from the ceiling, which are not hanging from the ceiling right now because the acrobats who use them to practice take them home every day so they can, you know, practice with them elsewhere and you know, keep them clean and so on. They aren't stored here at the space. But, you know, on some random days you'll come in here and there will be aerial acts, you know, taking place.
Interesting,
along the rafters.
That's not what I expected.
No, it's great. We're actually, is it 2 weeks from now? January 7th. We are hosting the grand book release opening, I guess book release party is the term, for one of those very same acrobats who is also a photographer and is publishing her first book of photography.
Cool.
And she's chosen you to host that release party.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're incredibly